Good evening, everyone. Welcome to that conversation I'm going to do with you. I am Monique. I am the queen from the royal crown of the sacred light of God. I am the new royal replacing the King Charles. And I just want to give you an update on what's happening around the world right now because of it. So welcome to that conversation. We are today, January 25th, 2026, and we have been under a major chaos of conversation. If you've been following under, mostly X has been very active, but in many other social media as well. And the discussion is very much around the configuration of nation and negotiation of economic transaction in between countries. And when I sit on my chair, I have to admit that it's very funny. And as much as it's not really fun, but it's amazing how much of those high elite are able to mutter their mouth around nothing. And I'm very sorry, but I have stopped answering the note to correct them because, well, I don't have a voice first because people don't believe that this is really happening and that the king did not get the inheritance, and all the chaos that it is creating behind the scene is so quiet. But if you knew why it is so quiet, it would make so much sense to you. But I cannot say everything just because it's not necessary for you to understand. But what's important is to unknit all the linked sweater with multiple color of wool that they've been knitting together to try to make it a trend and making it feel safe this way, so you all settle down around that conversation and stop pushing to know. It's the wave is created because people are curious and they want to know what's happening and they fear what's going on. And it's very understandable as human. When things are destabilized like that, we often feel it energetically talking, and then we try to make some sense of that thing that is happening, because and then we are concerned, how is this going to affect me, affect my finance, affect my family, affect my security in that nation, and am I still safe, am I not? And you know, it's a lot of question. And I have to admit that as I got involved in it, I started to get involved a little bit more intensively in 2018. And a bit earlier than that, when I started to make some complaints to the Quebec government about what was going on in certain hospital, so things were rectified, I was just turned off. So I just piled that information in my mind and tried to make an understanding on who was leading what and who was taking decision, listing on a book all the leaders that were very little experience or making a strange decision, and trying to map where we were going with this. And one day I decided, having a lot of information in my head, as I was attacked by, and I didn't know why. You know, sometimes you're stuck in a situation and you think you're going nuts because it doesn't make any sense. And I was experienced enough and smart enough to see that some of the things that were happening could not happen to me other than if there was a true definition of why me, why me, why me? And then I started to question why me, and got involved in all those Illuminati actors from Hollywood and all the celebrities from USA. So there has been a lot of those people that started to show in my profiles and my platform. And you all know, if you're on Facebook, you see who looks at your profile. So I was starting to see people that were looking at my profile, and it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and actors. And so I started to talk with one actor and questioned why he contacted me, because I have to tell you that I did not even know much of that actor, and I'm not quite a movie fan, so I did not know too much about them. And I was quite curious, and they triggered my attention so deeply that I became curious. And this is how I got where I am today. So I started to question some of their behavior that were strange and that were truly leading to wanting me to take risk on things that were impossible. And I'm talking about money risk, physical risk, meeting someone somewhere, and I said, whoa, what's this? And I got my house visited, and from there, so June 2023, my life took a turn where I started to have people following me with cars, and I had people starting to come at night around my house, walking on my land, and doing noises, coming and knock on my walls, and trying to poison my dog. And so things started to become really intense by my neighborhood, and my family started to take distance. So I said, well, I'm such a quiet person, and I just mind my business most of the time. And I said, something is wrong. Something around me is important enough to energize all those people around me. And slowly, as I was betrayed and attacked and been challenged in decision making, that became obvious that they wanted to kill me. And it was so similar to one person to the other that I started to do my own investigation, because I had the police officer in, and the way they responded to the emergency, I knew they were part of it, just the way they were questioning, because I was used to it. Being in emergency response, you work all the time with the police officer and investigation and work-related accident, and you know how it is. And then everything was strange, and I was experienced enough to know that something was wrong. And finally, along the way, I added up one actor and another actor, and was wondering what they were wanting. And very fast, I could see that the intention was to destroy my finances, make me lose my house, and lose my friends, lose my social life, lose contact with my kids. So they poisoned everything around me. And I probably have people knowing about this. I never knew, because I'm so quiet and minding my own business, that I could not believe that it was a destroying strategy for something I didn't realize it was at that time. I didn't know that I was linked to those royal. But I knew that my family had ancestors. And I've seen things in my house that made me wonder why we had those very royal things, you know. And it is so I discovered that my family knew, and I was just kept from the information, and they were themselves stealing the money, and some of the was in that inheritance. So and it went on like this, and then each week, each month was a new story coming out, and it became so big I just couldn't believe it. It's like a Walt Disney movie happening. And maybe some of you are listening to this with the mouth wide open, but at the time, this is what I was feeling like, and became curious. So I think I can name those guys here. They were profile. I'm pretty sure I was talking to those guys because they had I started to track the way they were putting phrases and putting their way of expressing themselves. So did a pattern of the way they were expressing themselves, and then watched interviews and how they were talking and the words they were using. So I was able to track if they were right or wrong, and they made a lot of mistakes, you know. So been injured, sending you the picture of the wound, and then you can see after the wound that is stitched, you know, in a journalistic presentation, or, you know, all little things that made me sure that I was still talking to that person, because this is what I wanted, because they were using profile to attack me. So that's nice. They never show their face, and they do whatever they want on the pretension they are someone. So I was able to put a true list of who was doing what and when, and who was linked to what and when, and thought that I was smart, and saw the name of Elon Musk coming in my income profiles, asking to get at me, and I says, "Why? This is my chance. He's gonna help me. He's a nice guy, and then he's honest, and I'm sure he will want to help me get out of that mess." Oh my God, the mistake of my life. It became that. Can I say this here? Anyway, I think I can. Because actually I've been protecting him a lot, and he knows, just because I'm not a person that wants to destroy people's life because they do bad decisions. And but the thing is, he's been mostly accepting a contract and continuing the strategy of getting rid of me. He wouldn't do it himself, but a very good planner at finding the right people to investigate, get the information, get yourself attacked. He had me along the way attached to the MK Ultra, testing you. It's a torture. They give you all sort of substances, all sort of stress. So that's what the test they were calling, you know, the MK Ultra is what is feeding actually the computer. So they stress someone, they give them this and that and this and that, and they document all your reaction, and they code that in their AI computer. And you're under that definition. So this is how they linked your reaction to certain things and that stuff. And then they code strategies for you. If they see you emerge, and there's going to be an alarm, a trigger that will say, well, going too far. We need to control. So they will make you lose contract or make your life difficult so you don't move forward, or suddenly you lose something, you don't know why. It's all linked to this. It's often orchestrated in the background. So MK Ultra was a true torture way of investigating on people and to see how resistant they were. Could they be a threat for our one world order plan? Will they see what's going on? Will they look over the fence? And they were trying to blind that system in a way you would never be able to realize that you were under that control. But sadly, probably with the rejection of during the pandemic of the people that didn't want to take vaccination, even with all the pressure they've been applying. So if you refer to pandemic and how they were restraining slowly people at getting this and that and this and this and that. So this was MK Ultra testing. That's what it was. How they were compiling all the information and reaction of people. Who's reacting, who's not reacting, who's rebelling, who's not rebelling. So they've been putting a quite good list of the one that were would be a threat for their system. So all the non-vaccinated were a threat for them because they had enough strength to say no to a societal order that most of people followed. And so how much of restriction they could give to you. So all of it started to be a story that was starting to make some sense. But it didn't give me back the relationship I had with my people. It's been quite a difficult time seeing them going after me all the time. And I just decided to cut off. In a way, it was telling me that they did not deserve it. So as they were showing, I was just cutting them off. It was easier. I would not accept anyone that would do anything to harm me. So it completely destroyed all my life. So I said, well, there's something behind the scenes. So after I went through all that mess, and you wouldn't believe all they've been doing to try to destroy me. It was going from trying to have something repair, and my fridge broke. And they made a mess. They didn't send anyone. They made it difficult. I couldn't get someone to repair it. They came, they repaired it, broke immediately after. And they started a pursue at... everything was a mess. Everything, when I say everything, everything became a true mess. And... well, there is not much you can do. So their strategy was to make me break, fall in depression. And they didn't. I'm here today. And it became, in a ways, funny, you know. I had to laugh at it because people were so not good at it. Even it became, I knew too much about humanity and people and how they were behaving to even make it something credible. And so all of that training, because I call it a training, taught me a lot about that one world order and the people that were involved in it. And when I discovered along the way that there was that inheritance that Elon was holding and having eyes on. And I tried to understand why he had that inheritance, and then started to look at what was doing the King Charles, and went around and just tried to put things together. And very fast, I realized that it was just much bigger than that. You know, as you go along and you have that build-up that goes around you, and you try to make any sort of realistic story, that's what it is. First, well, why an inheritance for a kingdom, you know? Cinderella, that's the story of Cinderella, you see. And you say, well, come down, sit down, Monique, and just take a deep breath. You're gonna feel better in an hour. So it was supposed to be something I was receiving a long time ago, and I was kept from it. So why I say this is very important, because I just want to remind you that when we look at something on those social media, what we see is what they want you to see. So your judgment you express on the comments are related to the false narrative that is created, so your mind goes in one direction, is trying to resolve who's gonna have what nation, where there's no issue at all. It's very easy. You don't have any more nations, mister. So you have a king that takes the royal crown and decide to crown himself anyway, even though his mom decided that he would not get it. And she probably knew things that we didn't know. And so the king keeps the crown, and what he does is he continues to a strategy that suddenly seems to be taking more importance, which is getting involved in Canada. And you start to see him, and he comes in voting time, and he comes after Mark Carney is elected. And he does the same with Australia and New Zealand and UK. And we're all after fact of pandemic, and we have all those members of the WEF that are sitting in the leading seats in the Chambre des Communes, and it's amazing. You look at them, and they're probably not even competent enough to do the job they were named on, but we understand that you can name anyone and administer, right? So they've been putting their people in place in the countries, and they started to get that Ukraine fight. And suddenly we started to see the money flying out of the bank accounts, helping Ukraine. As I had Mr. Musk attacking me in a planned strategy that was all supported by a council of leaders that agreed at it. So who are those leaders? I'm not going to name them, but they recognize themselves.